Welcome back to WNT Tech. In today's video, we're going to be looking at my personal rig desk setup, and I guess the computer as well at some point. It's no surprise to my kids and stuff that my personal space, my personal kind of desk area isn't really the best. It's a bit of a mess, to be honest with you, and it's really, really small. So in today's video, we're going to be transforming my desk into something hopefully that resembles what some would consider a half decent gaming setup. So that's what we're going to be doing today. Come on, let's go. So basically this is it. We had to walk so far to get here. But anyway, I'm in the corner of the room because our house is quite small and I have nowhere else to go. And our studio that we film in is currently leaking again. So that's a no-go area and I do not want to be out there with the spiders. So my setup is in our lounge or living room. If you're in America, I don't know what you call it in other countries. So this is my desk. And I don't know how much of the mess that you can see. We've got cable ties here for another video that's coming soon. These are Velcro cable ties. Actually really cool. These are really cheap, but they're just get subscribed and you'll see what we're going to do with these in a future video. We've got some odd bits here that I don't really know why. We've got a CPU, an AMD CPU. We've got some RAM sitting in there. Thanks Crucial for those, by the way. And some SSDs and stuff like that, and some really cheap, horrible thermal paste there. Don't use that. Anyway, that's some of the stuff on my desk. The most important thing on my desk is this. This changes everything. This is actually not real. It's a plastic rose thing. As you can see, I just wanted a plant on my desk, and that will be coming over to the new desk as well. And if you move over here, you'll see some other rubbish that's on my desk. So come a bit closer. We've also got a pen. We've got some coins because I don't know why they're there. I've got a cup, a placemat. And this is, well, they think that I'm the Grinch, so they got me the Grinch. Pretty cool. Anyway, we've also got my live streaming camera. I used to use this for videos, but unfortunately, within the last couple of weeks or so, this no longer turns on, so I no longer have a live streaming camera. As we move on over, sorry about that. We've got a monitor stand. I've got a ultra wide monitor on the top there. It's like, I don't even know what size it is. And then we've got a 27-inch monitor down here. Going down to the desk, we've got a LG soundbar, really, really sneakily put in there. You can barely see it in my setup. And yeah, you just can't see it. It's just hidden away in the blackness of my monitors. And then if I can move back a little bit, because space is a bit cramped here. We've got a Corsair keyboard and we've got a cheapy, well, I'll say cheapy. It's a Nemesis mouse and light bulbs popping up on the screen because I'm looking at light bulbs currently. Either side of that, we've got my phone case because it's currently in the gimbal we're using to film from. So because I also do flight simming and well, we've got a Airbus throttle quadrant there. And then over here, we've got the joystick to go along with that as well for when I'm flying in Microsoft Flight Sim. So my computer is currently sat on the desk and I've had to extend the desk and I'll show you that a little bit later on in the video. We've got a little lamp here so I can turn that on so that I don't damage my eyes too much when I'm staring at a computer or editing videos. Free dust included, by the way. So yeah, that'll be going soon. A external hard drive. I don't quite know what that's doing there. And the lights changed. Anyway, this light is not very good. This will not stay up. It kind of, yeah. So that happens. So what I do is rest it on the monitor and it just sits there like that. I've got a PlayStation 4 controller here for when I want to play games on the PC with a controller. So plugged into the top, the only thing I've got plugged into the top at the minute is my headset, which comes down here onto yet another throttle quadrant from Logitech. So I use this one for different aircraft. Yeah, I'm a bit of a geek when it comes to flight sim, but yeah, there's that. That's for another video. So here are my headphones of choice when I'm playing games and stuff like that, or speaking, is the Sennheiser GSP 300, I think they are. Now, they're very flimsy. I've never done a video on these, but the main reason I got these ones is because of the microphone. It's a really, really top-notch microphone on here. and well, it just works. It's what I use for live streaming. That sounds great, and no one has complained about the audio quality coming from my microphone. So that's what I use. Okay, so under my desk that you can see now is where it gets a bit nasty. You've got some, you can see, look, I tried to do a pretty rubbish job of cable tidying. I literally cable tied it to the metal struts that are going across the desk there. So under here, more flight simming gear and a lot more power cables. We've got rudder pedals there. We've got the rest of the Logitech yoke thing there, which I'm currently in the process of modding. And we've got another another flight sim piece of equipment here. Don't really use that so much anymore, but it's mainly for like autopilot and stuff like that. So that is what I use for that. And then over here we've got, oh, just breaking everything. So over on the left hand side we've got, it's a bit of a mess here, and this is another reason why I want to get another desk, because, well, I just want all this gone. I want it all gone. This is just not helping anything. We've got a box full of stuff that used to be on my desk that is now in the box. So I've kind of tidied it into the box. And then to the right of that, we've got obviously the Quest 2, which does get quite a bit of use, to be honest with you. And then next to that on the very bottom shelf, which you probably can't see because it's pretty much pitch black, we've got some thermal paste here and some isopropanol spray, and I don't know what that is. I think that's more isopropanol spray. And then a sub speaker for the soundbar that you saw on the top of the desk, which is completely invisible. You can't see it because it's all black. And then just to the left of that, next to the sofa, is a box of tools because of recent repair jobs, and then an extension lead, which is not going to be there. So that is just a quick look at my mess of a desk as it currently stands. Now, I actually have, if Will just turns around while I'm talking a minute, a new desk behind me by Cubi, and that is the GDLX desk, and I'll show a picture on screen if I can find one, but you'll see it in a minute anyway, because we are going to build that desk, and then we are going to make my setup amazing again, and it's going to look a whole lot better than this setup here. So we're going to do a bit of a time-lapse video, because it would be quite a boring video just watching us put a desk together. So we're going to set up for a time lapse, and we'll cover the desk again in a minute. Welcome to my new desk. Let's take a look around. Well, here it is. What do you think? I think it looks pretty good and it works really well for me. We'll get into the good and bad points about this desk a little bit later on, but first I'm just going to show you what isn't on my desk. If you remember in the first part of the video, which was actually probably a couple of weeks ago now, this is very minimal for me. So let's do a quick tour of what's on my desk and what is not on my desk. So starting from the left side of the desk, you can see literally there is, well, hardly anything at all. We've got a monitor shelf, although I'm not actually using that for a monitor. We've got little green Grinch man here. I had to keep him on the desk, so he's staying. We've got a little bit of this doesn't come with the desk. This is something I put on to protect the edge of the desk and the sofa. But the most important thing is there's nothing here other than the flight stick, which you've already seen because I play a lot of flight sim, so that is why that stays. Not the best place for it, but it won't fit, so that's where it's staying for now until I can find a better solution. As we move on to the top shelf here, we've got my desk lamp set up there with easy access to the USB charging ports on the side of that, so if I want to turn the light on or off, I can just do that, and it illuminates the complete back area of the monitor, which is great. I like that. It makes it easier on my eyes. I suggest anyone that uses a computer in the dark or in low light, have a light just pointing behind the monitor. It's surprising what difference it makes on your eyes. Try it. You'll thank me for it. Okay, moving on to the middle of the desk, we've got obviously the keyboard and the mouse for the computer, which we'll get into later on. And the main monitor there, and we've also got basically this is the same as it was before, it's just on a new desk. So we've got the flight equipment there as well. And if we move up a little bit, you see we've actually got the camera mounted behind the desk now. I bought a new stand for that to attach to because where it was previously was actually on the desk and I did not want it on the desk. It didn't look right. So I thought, well, let's try and be a little bit more professional about this, shall we? Moving on to the right hand side of the desk, if I switch over a minute, we've basically got that there, the throttle quadrant for playing flight sim, because I do play a lot of flight sim, and some very, very basic cable management. I'll get into the stuff that comes with the desk later on, but actually I'll mention this now because this is actually a really important plus of the desk that I thought. Cable ties, that's what I was going to say. Cable ties came with the desk. Two kind of rolls, I think they're maybe 1 meter long, of Velcro cable ties, one orange and one black. I just thought that was a really nice touch for a desk that I don't think that was that expensive, to be honest with you. It was really, really good price for the kind of thing that you get. And it's not perfect. It's still a bit of a mess, but there's only so much you can do on the back of a computer, to be fair. So that's kind of what that looks like at the moment. I don't really know what else to do with that. I don't really want it on the floor, so it's kind of just sat there out the way. And it gives me plenty of room when I'm sat here working or gaming. Basically, the last part of the top of the desk anyway, we've got a controller, PS4 controller, because I still use that for some games. And we've got, look at this, an ancient copy. For those that know about Flight Sim, Flight Simulator 2002, Professional Edition. Look at the cost of that. Not much different to now really, but 30% off. I got that for about £49. Now, moving on to the headphones, the headset we've got again, the Sennheiser, EPOS Sennheiser GSP 300s, as I've already mentioned previously in the video. They're sitting up there because I do use those quite a lot, because we are in what we call the lounge or the sitting room, or I don't know what other people call it. So there's other people in there quite a lot, so I can't always use speakers. The more eagle-eyed of you may have noticed there's no soundbar. Where is that soundbar? Well, if you follow me under the desk, I'll show you where the soundbar is. Okay, so under the desk, back where we were earlier, you can see that this is where the cable management mess kind of gets stored. So you get a cable tray, kind of. It's a bit flexible. It's not a very strong one. I mean, this is a fairly cheap desk, so what do you expect for cheap money? But it does its job, you know. It's screwed in with 4 screws, and I've got all the cable mess up there. Not fully managed yet, I know, but that is a work in progress. But moving back onto the soundbar's disappeared from the top. Well, I'm actually just resting it down here on there. It's not going to stay there, but I don't use it that often, and I'm probably going to replace it eventually with some desk speakers, potentially. We'll see how that goes. All right, so more flight sim stuff, because I don't know if I mentioned, I play flight sim. Anyway, moving on. Back onto flight sim. This is the rudder pedals for flight sim. They were under the previous desk as well, and they're going to have to be here as well because they're necessary for doing flight sim at least half properly. So that's where they go. Obviously, you've got a problem here when you move pedals. It bangs on the speaker, so I kind of have to just move it forward a little bit, and then it doesn't become a problem. Anyway, that's that. Moving over here, you may notice the Quest 2 controllers. This is where I sit the Quest 2, obviously. I didn't know really where else to put that. And also, this is the wrong color, so I may swap this out for something a little bit later on. But that's kind of just where that sits. Yes, I know, it's near the heater. I have checked, when the heater is on, the heat doesn't actually seem to affect that. It doesn't get hot there at all. The heat mostly goes up, you know, heat rises, so it doesn't actually come out and affect anything here. So don't worry, don't post in the comments, I'm killing the Quest 2. It's absolutely fine, I did check. I mean, I was gonna put it on this side, but it was kind of in the way. So that's where it's staying for now. And then we've got the bass speaker there next to that on the left. Okay, so I think now we've done a little bit of a tour, let's talk about some of the good and bad points. Okay, so we're moving on to the bad points. Let's get the bad points out of the way first. One thing I didn't mention, or you may have seen as we were doing the quick tour of the desk there, that you saw a headphone stand or a headphone holder, whatever you want to call it. It only mounts to the left side of the desk, which is a bit of a pain if I'm honest. It's good, it's nice and strong. Well, I say it's strong. It'll hold quite a good weight, but that's the only place you can mount it, unless you're willing to screw new holes into the desk. Yeah, it only fits on that side, and it won't let me mount it on this side. This is where I really want it. I want it on the right-hand side, because then where my headphones are, it will reach. Obviously, with the tower being over there, I can't really mount it over there. If I had Wi-Fi headphones or wireless headphones, it wouldn't be a problem. The next down point, as we move on to the top of the desk, it gets dusty and dirty very quickly. Now, some of the dust could be attributed to the fact that I have the computer, sorry, if we move back over here again, on the desk blowing air out the back. Now, one thing I have noticed, we obviously cleaned the desk before we did this video, and I've noticed that it's getting quite dusty here. Now, I think that's obviously due to the fact that the power supply is constantly blowing air out, and along with it, dust from the room. So that's just an issue I'm just going to have to deal with. The other thing is that, other than the dust, it picks up a lot of finger grease. Whatever this is on the top, it kind of looks like a vinyl wrap. I don't know if it exactly is, but that's kind of what it feels like. You can't, well, it's not a vinyl wrap as such, but that's what it looks like to me. It's not though. Let me see if we can just demonstrate this on video. Now, my hands are clean. I can't actually see anything. They may be too clean, but when you've, you know, doing your day-to-day stuff and you touch the desk, even just a little bit, you do get finger grease. So you can see a little bit of grease there and marks and stuff like that. And so it is a bit of a pain for that kind of thing. So you're going to be constantly wiping this entire desk off, which is fine. It's just something I'm going to have to live with. But it's just, I don't know, it just must be the type of material that this is on top of this wood that they've put on here. Okay, so if we can bring you over this way a little bit. It's not without its flaws, and putting it together is also one of those flaws. It was easy, it was actually very, very easy, and I'll get to that in a minute. But if you come here, and if you look very, very closely, there is a gap between the corner piece and the left-hand piece. Now that's quite a considerable gap, and I will see if I can take the desk apart again and just push this in. But I'm pretty certain that I pushed that all the way in and it just wouldn't go anymore. So I don't quite know what's going on there. Whether the holes didn't line up properly, I don't know. But whatever that is, it doesn't quite line up properly. And in fact, as I notice now, it's on both sides. It doesn't line up properly. So there's that issue, which is a pain, and it's a bit disappointing if I'm honest. But if we come under the desk again, I'm really sorry about it going up and down like this. So as we can see here, the screw holes, well, they have to line up in a certain place. So they're not off center or anything like that. So even if we could push the desk right up close to the other panel here, the screw holes then would not line up. So how would that work? So I think that's just the way the screw holes have been put into the desk panels themselves, and no amount of pushing them together is going to fix the problem because, well, the screw holes are the screw holes and you can't move them. So that's kind of a design issue, I feel, and I will let Kubi know and see what they can do about that. But I just thought that I would point this out for you guys so that you know that there's the possibility that yours might also have this issue too. It's more aimed at, I would say, a child. Now some would say I am just a big child, so it suits me just fine. But it does come with stickers that go on the legs of the desk. Now I chose not to put them on. I gave them to my son so he can do what he likes with them. But on this particular desk, it does come with a red kind of strip. Now this doesn't come off. This is already on the desk, all along the edge of the desk, and it goes all the way around as well. So I don't know, I quite like it. It's not too red, it's quite subtle, and I don't think it looks out of place, to be honest with you. I quite like it. The stickers, however, were very, very red, and they were meant to go like along the panels here and down the edge here as well, down the edge here, which there are already some. Oh yes, just remembered, thank you. So this is what it looked like, basically. Now I'm going to take these off eventually, but I just haven't done it yet. So let's move on to the good points. The main good point about this desk is that it was a pleasure to build. The instructions were really simple, and for me that's a really super important thing because I am really rubbish at building things. I normally ask for help for everything to do with building things. So the instructions were actually really simple. Everything was labeled correctly in the book, and it matched the panels in the packaging as well, which was really good. Nothing was incorrectly labeled. Everything was, all the bolts and screws and things were all there. So it was just a pleasure to build. It was a really good desk build experience. Just one thing I do want to mention though. It does have a weight limit. If you're planning on doing what I've done and putting the monitor in the corner, there is a weight limit to this back panel. Now, if I can find out what that weight limit is, I will put it on the screen and you can see if your monitor or whatever you're going to put in the corner will fit and it will hold the weight. But just one thing to bear in mind, that in the corner panel, there's no support on the back. All you've got is those support beams underneath, which you saw earlier as we were looking under the desk, to hold this center panel on. There's no feet or anything to support that back edge, which I would have liked to have seen. So moving on to the monitor stand now. I'm not currently using it as a monitor stand. As you can see, I've only got the light on it and little Grinch man here. It does hold, I don't know what the actual weight it will hold is, but I'm a bit dubious about putting a heavy weight on it, especially a larger monitor. Now, if I was going to put this particular monitor on it, the monitor's really light, so it wouldn't be a problem. I mean, I can push down really quite hard on that and it's absolutely fine, but that's just my choice. I'm not going to put a monitor on it. But if we move under the desk, I can show you what's actually holding it up and why I'm a bit dubious about putting things that are heavy on it. If we look here, there's literally two screws, not even screwed into the desk. They're just resting on the surface of the desk, which I'm not particularly happy about, but that's the way they've done it. And that is obviously the same either side of that, as you can see there. And that's all that holds it up. It just kind of goes over the edge of the desk. Like if we move up here, It's just like a clamp over the edge of the desk, and then the screws go in underneath. Not really ideal, but I mean, it does do it. It does do the job. But I wouldn't put something really, really heavy on it personally. That is kind of where we are with that. Now that is the entire desk setup, but without further ado, we're just going to show you what this thing looks like in gamer mode. So let's talk about the price. The price is really, really simple. It's 109 Great British pounds. Now I'll put the conversion into US dollars for our American friends down in the bottom of the screen here, and I'll also put links to the Amazon pages where we purchased this from the UK site and from the Amazon US website. They are not affiliate links. We don't have Amazon affiliates, so just go and have a look or pick another desk. I think despite its little quirks and a few little design flaws, I think actually it was quite a good desk to buy for me anyway. Whether it would be a good one for you to buy, that's only a decision that you can make. So there we go. That's it. The desk is complete. Well, it's mostly complete, and that's my little tour of my personal space, my little corner in the room. So hopefully you found this a bit entertaining, or maybe not entertaining, but useful in your next purchase of a desk, be it a corner desk or whatever kind of desk. Just some of the things to look out for, some of the pitfalls about this particular desk, and just my observations of what I would check when you're picking a desk. Anyway, that's the end of our video. Hope you enjoyed watching. We'll catch you in our next tech video.